All right, I'm sorry about that delay, but I think everybody has at least their 1.5 note sheet up now. And so one of our two primary objectives for today is we want to be naming angles. So it is really important when you name an angle is how wide is something open. Okay, so it's like the space in between. So like for this, like there's a gap in here, that's an angle. Okay, it's how big is the gap. If we want to name the angle, we use 3 letters. So for this would be one example. Angle UXV means I start at U, go to X, and then go to V. So that would be like this angle in here. So I want to use 3 letters when I name an angle. So one possible, it says name 3 different angles below, is angle UXV. Notice I put that little angle mark there, okay? So you want to use 3 letters when you name those angles. I'll show you. We're going to do one. Yeah, question was how do we do that in class kick? I'll show you that right after this. So another angle we could name would be angle WXV. If I said angle WXV, well, that means start at W, go to X, and go to V. It would be that part right there. So angle WXV. So UXV, okay, the first one, this is like the top part. WXV, this is like the bottom angle. We also could name the entire angle UXW. Angle UXW means the whole thing. It's like both of them together. And now remember the order, the only thing that's important about the order is that the turning point, the X, which is called the vertex, okay, that has to go in the middle. So like this, I could have called this WXU, and that would be perfectly fine. It'd be the same thing. Any questions on that, on naming those? One objective down. The second one is going to be measuring angles. So when it comes to measuring angles, there are a few different types. Some of these words might be familiar to you, maybe not all 4 of them. But an acute angle, that is an angle that is less than 90 degrees. Okay, so notice that, you know, this angle here is opened up less than 90 degrees, which would be like straight up. An obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. So those are the 2 most common. It's either acute or obtuse. But there are a couple others. If it's exactly 90, that's called a right angle. And that little box goes in the corner to show that it's exactly 90 degrees. And if it makes a straight line, well, then it makes what's called a straight angle, which would be 180 degrees, like 2 90 degrees together, or like half a circle, okay? So down here, if we wanted to use this protractor, that's what this thing is called, to measure angle JHL. So remember, JHL means I start at J, go to H, and then go to L. So that means on our protractor, I start at J, go to H, and then go to L. I like to classify it first before I do the actual number. Is this acute or obtuse? It's obtuse, right? It's more than 90 degrees. So let's classify it first and say that that is obtuse. And so now I'm going to go back and look at the measures. So this is at like 0, and I'm going this way. I'm trying to see how, well, there's two numbers there. I know they're hard to see, but 70 or 110. How do I know which one to choose? Remember, you just said it's obtuse. So that means it's 110 degrees, not 70. I know that because it's obtuse, my answer has to be greater than 90. And so that is 110 degrees. All right, let's do the next one. GHJ means I start at G, go to H, go to J. Well, that is a straight angle. So I'll classify it first. That is a straight angle. And all straight angles are 180 degrees. All right, we got one more, MHL. So I start at M, go to H, and then go to L. So I'm looking at that angle there. Acute or obtuse, which one? Acute, right? So that is acute angle. How many degrees is it? Well, now, because it doesn't start like down here on an axis, I'm just going to count in between. Notice these numbers, like this is 10 degrees. So that's 10, 20, 30, plus 5 more. So it's 35 degrees. So I'm just counting those numbers in between. That means that that would be a 35-degree angle. Any questions on those? All right, let's scroll down to these two questions. All right, these are the two things that we just did. Let's take 5 minutes or maybe less and do these two problems. We'll go over them in just a couple of minutes. All right, let's go over these. So for problem number 1, to name the angle, 3 different angles in the diagram. If I wanted to name this angle in here, okay, like this opening, I would call that angle PQR. Okay, and again, PQR is this opening right here. If I wanted to name this opening, I could call that angle SQR. So that would be this opening here. And again, the order, you could change those orders. I could call this RQS, and that would be the same thing. Or the entire angle would be angle PQS. Okay, any questions on that? Because there are other possibilities. All right, let's look at the next one. Find the measure of angle COA. So that is from C to O to A. It definitely looks obtuse. So I'll classify it first. Now I want to figure out what is the actual measure. So let's see, I can see this is 20. So I'm just going to count. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 degrees. So it is 110 degrees. Okay, which makes sense. It's obtuse, right? More than 90. Any questions?